Hello
Hey,
again with Star42. I'm Michael.
and I'm Jace.
All
Glad
right.
to
I
have you.
guess glad to have you as well. I guess we're technically episode
One.
two-ish.
We're
Oh,
one.
are we going to say episode one?
The first episode you said was point 0.5.
I know, but when I put it in to say this is an episode, I had to put an integer in, so it kind of became one. Anyway, it
Oh, so
wouldn't
I
let me
guess
do
this is
zero.
episode 2.
So this is episode two, and we haven't quite finished the quirks of publishing yet on episode one. So it was kind of more of like a trial anyway. But
Perfect.
that being exactly, yeah. But that being said, there's been, some stuff going on. I know I've been busy coming back from knowledge. We had the Memorial Day weekend, and then also I think we left the last episode, which is talking about some of the game stuff and whatever. But more importantly, let's just jump into kind of the news over the past few weeks. What do you say, Jace?
Yeah, and then at the end I have a spoiler. Or not spoiler. I have a cliffhanger? I don't know. I have something to share.
Is it a cliffhanger? You know what? I just finished the second season of Last of Us. I'm not going to give
Mm.
spoilers, but it was kind of a cliffhanger, and I'm not a fan of cliffhangers. I'll be honest with you.
Well, this is so people come back and find out what's happening next week.
Okay, as long as it's not a season ender, right?
No, it's not a season yet, and I won't keep you guys waiting more than a week.
Okay, we'll go for that. So let's jump into the news, though. It was kind of interesting since we're kind of in the tech world, and of course, somewhat of ServiceNow, given our backgrounds. It's interesting to see that Salesforce acquired Informatica,
It is,
and yeah, and we were
and
kind
it's
of
a
talking.
big purchase too. I think they
It
said
was
8
several billions.
billion. I
Yeah, how
think it
much
was
was it?
8 billion.
8 billion. That's 8 billion.
You,
Yeah. Was it stock options, cash? I didn't see the details on it. I'm trying to look at the details.
yeah, I'm pretty sure it was 8 billion. I don't know. I didn't do any research on them, but I mean, Informatica is a big. I thought Informatica was part of Oracle. Was it? Is
I
it
don't
a
know.
divestiture of Oracle?
Yeah, it probably is. I don't know. I don't follow the business stuff as much because I'm more of a tech person.
According to
Um,
TechCrunch, Salesforce acquires Informatica for 8 billion. The
yeah,
announcement was made Tuesday. Under the
yeah.
terms and deals, Salesforce will pay $25 in cash per share for Informatica's Class A and Class B1 common stock. Informatica
It.
predates ServiceNow. It came out in
Yes, it does. It's been around for
1994,
a while.
and they have more than 5,000 customers across 100 countries.
Yes. So
Now
it's
that I put everybody
interesting.
to sleep,
Well, I'm still awake, so it doesn't matter. But it's interesting because it's kind of like the ServiceNow announced Data World
yeah,
acquisition around knowledge.
they did.
There's the workflow data fabric that ServiceNow talks about as well. And so it's kind of interesting now there is this real push, first of all, the fact that Salesforce is now acquiring Informatica, which is kind of a data integration system, not an API integration. That was MuleSoft, which they acquired. Not going to talk about that. But the Informatica portion of it they required is almost kind of like yes, we acknowledge we know AI needs data to run well. Informatica is a big piece to that. Obviously, Data World is a big part with the ServiceNow and, of course, Workflow Data Fabric. And I remember internally with some of my coworkers when they said, hey, look at this announcement. I immediately posted a Yoda meme that was like,
I saw that.
Yoda say, oh, was it the Cloud Wars, begun the Cloud Wars have kind of thing, like with Yoda?
Yeah,
And it's kind of really one of those things in the most no, not Cloud Wars. I'm sorry, Cloud Wars has been going on for a while. The AI wars,
well,
and
nobody knows what they want, but that's
well, that too, right? But it's interesting because here, do a window. Here we go. Share. I'm going to share this. There it is. AI wars have.
begun. The AI
Yep,
wars have.
exactly. Because, and I was thinking about this as well from a technology perspective. NVIDIA, of course, has the technology for running the models. But when you kind of look at just the models and the technology stack, by itself, it really doesn't do much. You need the models, right, to do everything. And more importantly, you don't just have the models because that also leaves the AI models available where, great, you have them. Now everyone's got to hook it up and figure out how to use it. Well, when
Yep.
you look at a platform like ServiceNow or Salesforce, like let's put them both together here, you have it where you've got places that people are doing work. And now you've got the AI there intrinsically with those workflows. And now you're getting the data with that acknowledgement that, yes, you need data for AI. And so it's kind of one of those things where it's like, I almost want to say the whole AI stuff is very powerful, but the hardware and the models are only one part of it. The other part comes to how do those models and, of course, hardware usage get consumed. And I really want to say that's where, of course, ServiceNow is pushing into because we've all been workflow, automated workflow.
Yeah,
Salesforce
yeah.
runs a bunch of stuff, CRM. Of
Well,
course, Microsoft runs it, but I call Microsoft more personal productivity, like with Microsoft Office tools and such.
Hmm.
But it's interesting where, we have to bring AI to people and say, here you go, let's spoon feed this to you. We'll have the tools available and the models and the hardware. Tell us what you need and figure it out, because I think that's where most people are going to get at kind of like a standstill where they're like, great, I've got all this powerful AI stuff at my fingertips, but how do I really use it?
Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong, right? ServiceNow definitely has a bunch of data, and them acquiring Data World hopefully gives them like a level up on it. Now, there are current customers of Data World who are also customers of ServiceNow. Like any acquisition is going to be probably a little messy for them to move over, and that's okay. And I'm sure Informatica is going to be the same with Salesforce. What's going to be really interesting is how Informatica is going to continue to work with current customers, right? Salesforce doesn't do what ServiceNow does. Salesforce doesn't bring in the application and make it part of its cohesive system, from what I understand.
Yes, and from what I've heard,
Yeah.
that was kind of one of the reasons why there was the purchase of MuleSoft some years ago, because they needed actually something to tie all their stuff together.
Yeah.
Allegedly.
Yeah. Did you know ServiceNow was an investor?
Are you serious? I did not know that.
I have the link. I have the date even. Give me like a minute.
I did not know that. That's
ServiceNow was
interesting.
totally an investor of MuleSoft before they were acquired.
I mean, the principle of it, of
2015, May 20th.
Okay.
No, wait, that was that. Yeah. No, that was ServiceNow invested in them, and they were later acquired.
Yeah.
If you're curious, and I know we can share these links after the fact, but there's a link to the
All right.
MuleSoft takes 128 million as ServiceNow becomes an investor.
Okay. Hey, that's interesting. Yeah, we'll put that link in wherever we're posting this information.
Yeah.
But needless to say, it's once again kind of interesting just where, all right, ServiceNow has Data World, Salesforce has Informatica. Obviously there's also value in partnerships with Microsoft, NVIDIA, of course. It's just interesting to see how this is going to play out.
Gonna be really, let's see.
It will be, yeah. And my other prediction was I just posted something on LinkedIn about this as well, where, I'm seeing AI is actually working pretty well, believe it or not. And I'm seeing it work better and better as things are growing and the models are growing. And I'm almost thinking like the trough of disillusionment of AI isn't going to be, oh, it's not doing like we thought and it's disappointment. It's going to be more like, oh, hey, AI is working so well, we're going to get into layoffs and hiring freezes and stuff where it's like, what's going to happen with the workforce? I wonder if these predictions are going to be right.
It's funny you bring that up. That Gartner hype cycle thing you had posted about. I read that and I commented on it. Right?
I know you did. I know.
And I
one or two comments.
Yeah. I know Matt Baran. Do you remember Matt Baran?
Matt Baran. Oh, is it Baran or Baran? I always
you know
Baran.
what?
Yeah.
I'm probably saying it wrong.
No,
he's local.
Baran.
He lives near.
Well, I know he's Minnesota. I went and worked with him years ago.
But he was talking about his thing there. And I don't know that I agree that we're at the trough of disillusionment. I still think we're in or before the peak of inflated expectations.
Maybe.
Because I don't think a lot of value has been realized by the majority of people or companies.
Yeah.
Right.
I think you're right.
And I think part of that is just because of how unavailable it is for a lot of these larger orgs, right? For the price points that places are selling.
Yeah, I mean, I can argue the price points because I have worked with some customers before, and just pulling those basic numbers and being realistic about it, we can show that it's like, all right, based upon the usage of so much, we know you're going to get value out of it. But I think there's still a little bit of hesitation.
Like, I feel like we're being sold autocorrect for really expensive, or spell check for really expensive. Really fancy spell check. But that's okay.
Maybe. I don't know. I mean, it's just one of those things where, I mean, there are definitely some parts to it where, look, spell check, for example, when it first came out, you had to get in the habit of always hitting a button for it to work.
Yep.
And sometimes you forget very often, right? Because it's a manual, you have to get into that habit. And then at one point, finally, I think spell check just started working automatically, like autocorrect and everything.
On your phone, it does. I still have the spell check stuff on when I type things out. It highlights it, tells you it's wrong. You still have to take an action to correct it.
Okay, but it's better than just not telling you at all. My point is there's just kind of like that user experience evolution where it's like, okay, it's new, adoption's kind of low, people are figuring it out, and also I think it's a generational thing. Like, great example of this is how I do a Google search. I'll type in something like if I'm looking up, I don't know, maybe I'm trying to find a manual for a belt sander. Like I need to look something up and I threw the manual away. I'll put in like manual for belt sander type, replace tensioner or something. And
Yeah.
and then Google typically gives me the results of it, really. Well, I've noticed my kids would do something like, hey, how do you go? They would type in their search more like, how do you go through and like replace a tensioner on this particular belt sander? And the way that the question's asked isn't so much of, I'm asking like I'm throwing keywords in here expecting to get some good results. They're literally saying, I am asking this a question and I am expecting a direct answer.
Yeah. Well,
And
now that
and
Google is giving those answers, like with AI,
yes,
right? Like that makes a big difference.
yes, exactly. So I think a part of that user experience is just the behaviors we've learned. Like myself, I don't change behaviors quickly enough.
Yep.
And ironically enough, I'm finding working with younger people and seeing what they're doing for AI realizes, oh, this is what I can do now to stay kind of on top of my professional game. Where just through my own age, I've gotten so used sometimes to saying, oh, this is how I do things, that I'm now watching the younger people to see, oh, what do I need to do differently?
Yeah.
And I really, really appreciate that my coworkers because of that, because it's almost like, hey, you're learning from me, from my experience, from what I've been around for. And honestly, not that greatest experience, but
Well, I wonder
experience nonetheless.
I wonder how that works for the other stuff. Like if your kids are not using the AI responses or the AI response isn't right? Are you familiar with word stems with
Somewhat.
searches? Huh?
Somewhat, yeah.
Yeah, I had no idea what they were before. But for people who don't know what they are, if you have a word like, I don't know, jump, right? Like you're on to look for like, I don't know, somebody who did like the longest jump in an Olympic or something, right?
Yeah.
Like who is the person who jumped the longest, or what is the farthest jumping kangaroo can do or something, right? The stem of that word would be just the JUMP, right? Because
Hmm.
you don't want to necessarily search the ED and the ING. In some search engines, they'll just cut off those non-stem parts of the words.
Really?
Yes,
Huh.
at least that's my understanding. I read this book called by Anders, I can't ever say his last name, but I'm going to try because we're on audio and it's fun. Vishnu, he wrote this book called How to Master ServiceNow in 10,000 Hard and Painful Steps. But in it, he talks about building a search engine.
Hmm.
And he goes into how like word stemming works for search engines and kind of like how that works. And maybe he's wrong, but it was very interesting because I had no idea about it before, but it makes total sense if you think about it. Because if you're indexing on words, you don't want to index every different type of word,
Oh, you don't.
like every different iteration that a word can have, at least in the English language, right? Because all the
Yeah.
different ways you can end it. But
Well,
I
well,
wonder like if the searches are impacted poorly with like the phrase versus the other thing. Because a phrase is going to be better with semantic searches, like a statement, question, that kind of thing.
I,
Whereas if you search for the terms, your results would be better heard than your kids, I bet.
I'm gonna have to play with that because I feel like, and I got to try this out. If I just put terms in, I get more of like just search results. But if I actually put in more of like a question with context or whatever, I get more of Gemini saying, "Oh, let me give you the answer."
Yeah.
So I'll have to play with that a little bit. But the other thing that was very, very interesting is also some of the AI and attentions and everything, because there's the attention algorithms where when you're asking a question, it's trying to hold the attention of like the previous words to have the right context for everything. And I know there was something with AI where if you ask like how many R's are in strawberry, it will give
It
a wrong
answers
answer.
three. Yep.
Yeah, and it usually says two. And so we know when it comes to AI in general, and I always say AI is nothing more than prose, pattern recognition on steroids. Really, it is. I
I
mean,
believe you.
yeah, and
Yeah.
and that's why I always say like AI will never truly replace people because it's probably not creating new patterns. It's always looking for existing patterns, maybe reforming a few things, but generally those patterns. But for the most part, we know there needs to be improvements on a lot of those kind of things as well. So it's going to be interesting once again in the whole picture of everything with getting the data, the models, which are constantly improving, the platforms we have with it. It's going to be interesting how it sees. But like I said before, what I've been seeing more is people want to have AI like tell me how to leverage it, not
Yeah.
let me sit down and figure it out. So that part's very, very interesting overall. But needless to say, I know we always like to keep things short. and I want to get to like a different topic on it. So are we ready to switch topics on out of the AI news stuff?
Yeah.
I mean, for news, I mean, the Informatica was a big thing. Data world, we know at Knowledge. I haven't heard of much other news, except there's this really cool video. You got to look this up. A few days ago in a suburb in Chicago, there was like a cargo van, or not a cargo van, but like a truck, like a shipping truck driving down a suburb, and it just randomly blew up.
Well, did I see that? That's crazy. If so, I believe
it was
you. That's
it
nuts.
was crazy. I thankfully, person was minorly hurt, but nothing worse happened. But it just kind of goes to show you, it's like, yeah, you could be in the middle of doing an demo and boom, you're in a suburb in Chicago. I bring that up, total random. It's just interesting, and I just had it in my mind.
Yeah.
But needless to say, let's do something a little fun here. So, do you have that link that I sent you to Trivia Now?
No. Do you want to throw it in chat and I'll get there?
I'll throw it in chat. Can I put it in the chat here?
Can. I've been putting things in chat here, but
where is my chat here?
On the bottom right. For me, it's underneath my picture, next to people and layout. Leave.
Wow, this is funny how I cannot find it at all. I see my people, see script, share, mark, pause, stop, restart.
Mine's right next to people. It looks like a chat bubble.
No, like I saw something that said chat, like a pop-up notification chat. All right, I don't know. See, this is once again me like being an older person. Like, where is the chat? And I'm gonna find it 2 seconds after this and be like, oh, it was right here the whole time.
You just send it to me on LinkedIn if you want. I'm there too. Whatever.
Yeah, that's fine. I'll send it just to you to the chat. Well, I sent it to you to the chat originally.
Which chat though? There's so many chats.
Oh, just the Google Messages chat, man. I know there's so many
but
chats.
I have to copy that to my phone, to my computer.
Don't you have it up on? Oh, wait.
No, I don't have it. I see. I'll get it. Give me 2 seconds.
This is the funniest thing of like so many different chat things that we have going on. Yeah, we're gonna have to edit this just a little bit and be like, hey,
almost there.
That's fine. While you're doing that, I'm gonna bring this up where when you get into it, and I probably shouldn't share the link out to people because like I don't totally have it set up like for random people to play trivia. Screen. But anyway, this is the Trivia Now, like I said before.
We're recording again. Yeah.
Yep. I'm gonna go ahead. Okay. Let me bring up this next screen here. Oh, here it is. Okay, cool. All right, you see this here? So if you go to that link, browser, phone, doesn't matter. It's responsive-ish. For you, there should be something that says, hey, there should be a button that says put in login or hit a link for like self-registration. Did you do that yet?
I haven't done it, but I'm clicking self-registration right now.
Go ahead and do self-registration. And it basically says, here's your name, put in a name and an email, and then you hit like register. And it's not pretty, by the way. I am not a developer.
It works, functional.
It'll work.
All right. I'm in. I'm logged in.
All right, you're in. So you should see something like this as games you've won or nothing for the most part, right?
It just says log out. It says trivia time and log out.
Log out, yeah. So let me go to this handy dandy portal here and go ahead and start a game. Now I could play along, but I know all the answers and I'll win. So
it's just a quiz chase game. It sounds good to
basically,
me.
Yeah. But let's do you want to do Star Wars or
general? No, let's do Service Now. Star Wars, people make fun of me for it because I'll get it mixed up with something else.
The other Star thing.
Yeah.
All right. So if you got your game, this is responsive.
Click on the 10.01.
Yeah. So the great thing is it's a single page web app. And I had to code a lot of it to make sure as much of the data that required like several different table queries and such was done as much on the server side as possible. So that way when players get on, there's just that immediate data pull from the one game record, and that's it. Trying to keep it as efficient as possible. And it's doing a portal because it works great, and I don't want to get into the headache of this. But when was ServiceNow founded? I hope you know this.
Oh, I
know this. Wait, when was this founded? Oh yeah, should know that. And there's like a countdown of 3 or 5 seconds that you lose like half the points if you don't get it in that time.
Perfect.
And as we know, ServiceNow was founded in 2010 by Uncle Fred Luddy. Right. I don't have the correct answers posted. I got to update this a bit. But, as you can see, it's tied. All right, that's cool.
Let's read the questions and the answers, and we'll answer.
Right. We'll read the questions.
I don't know how many questions you have in here, like hundreds?
Like maybe 10 or 15. But the game is built to have templates, and you can take a template and add other questions. So true or false, ServiceNow's first domain was service-now.com.
Wait, what? I think your thing's wrong.
It's true. It is. Service-now.com.
They had something before servicenow.com.
Oh, there was GlideFast.
No, GlideSoft.
I mean, you're right. Soft. Sorry, I got Glide Fast. It was Glide Soft. I don't know if they had a domain though, but most of the
They
domain
did.
stuff.
I have Wayback Machine links.
All right. Well, all of our instances are service-now.com. That's what
Since
it was.
2006.
Five.
Yeah, 5. Okay.
I don't
Well,
care. All
no,
right.
no, 2006, because they didn't have ServiceNow.com initially.
All right. What was the first ServiceNow product Fred Luddy built?
Well, if you're talking ServiceNow, right? Okay, so the
Built.
answers are App
I'm going to
Engine.
stress built. I'm going to stress built.
Even I got this one wrong. They went with the ITIL terms. Anyways, so it's not IT service management.
App
It must
Engine.
be.
He built ServiceNow.
See, now you're mixing though, because that's on
No.
That's on GlideSoft. That was on GlideSoft.
I don't care.
Yeah,
It
but
was-
it's
Fred Luddy originally built ServiceNow to be an enterprise workflow platform. App Engine was technically the first product built. I say built, not sold. I'm very, very.
he built GlideSoft to do that stuff, and then they pivoted.
This should be easy because I put she in there, and there's only one she.
See, I don't know this one.
You don't know that story? Fred Luddy tells all the time.
I don't know. I don't know Fred Lord. Fred. I don't know.
So the quick story is like, I don't know, in the 70s or whatever, he was like a young kid programming in like a manufacturing. And this woman, Phyllis, who did data ordering, said, "Hey kid, come over here." And she showed him how she had to repeat stuff over and over again. And he's like, yeah, what's the problem? She goes, "See how I have to retype this? Like 80% of the stuff I retype is all the same. How can you just make it where it can just copy over?" So he went home that night, programmed it, and he went to Phyllis the next day. All right, what's the name of the ServiceNow employee band? You should know this.
We know this one. It's Z-Boot.
Z-Boot. Mark O'Donnell, I know. Don't ever play him in a dodgeball.
Oh, okay.
He can throw hard. So he shows Phyllis, "Hey, check this out," like hit a button, and it copied all the previous stuff into the next thing, and it saved her like tons of time, and she cried apparently. And Fred tells a much better story than I do, but that's kind of the lore.
This is the condensed Michael version. I like it. That's good. That's good lore. And I haven't heard that story before.
Are you serious? Go watch some of the like old videos of Fred Luddy. He'll talk about it. Uncle Fred.
I've looked at a bunch of them, but they're more on the investor
First
stuff.
CEO. You should know this one as well.
See, this is a trick question, sort of.
It's not a trick question.
I mean, you're right. It's not true.
It's Fred
But I
Luddy.
feel
He was
like
the first CEO.
He was. But I feel like he stepped away for their first CEO. Do you know what I mean?
Well, I mean,
he was more of like the founder of, and he had to be the CEO because nobody else would be.
Well, yeah, but he's still the first CEO.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. Fred Luddy was the first CEO.
I remember when he was like, he took the chief product officer role.
Yeah.
And I almost want to say that was kind of like a golden era. You should know this.
When was that?
Well, I just showed you the answer because I clicked.
No. When was that era where he took the chief product office?
I think when Slootman came in.
Okay. I didn't know this. Did you know Slootman retired?
Yeah, I did.
I didn't realize that. I was looking at somebody had posted something about the CEO of Snowflake, and I was like, "Oh, that's Slootman," and said somebody else's name. Like, wait, what? When did that change?
Slootman was just known for taking companies public, basically.
Yeah.
And whatever company he went to, you could either A, if you wanted to get like pre-IPO stocks, you'd go there to work, or B, you like wait for it to go public because you know he's good at that. Where was the first knowledge conference held? You should know that too.
I should know that. I got it right.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense, right? If you know the history of ServiceNow.
If you know where it was located, ServiceNow started in California. So, yeah.
Yeah, San Diego. But yeah, Slootman was known for taking companies public and making a lot of money. And so I was just never smart enough to like follow him.
Right.
Which
Yeah,
is fun.
I didn't know this. I'm following all these CEOs now, though. I've been doing this blog post series on all these investments that ServiceNow has been, all these companies ServiceNow has been acquiring. And as part of that, I've been looking also at investments. I didn't publish the one this week, but I'll have it next week.
I hope you know this one. What is MID
I
stand for?
don't, actually.
Are you serious? You don't know what MID stands for?
No. I mean, like, I'm guessing it's...
Well, you just saw me click it. You should know.
I didn't look at yours when I clicked it.
Oh,
but I didn't realize mid-servers were there initially for discovery. I thought mid-servers existed pre-discovery.
When I started working on ServiceNow in 2011, it already existed.
I know. When I started working on it, it didn't.
So I don't, on that one, I don't know. I could see discovery being the big driver for it.
Yeah.
Not that
What was the
integration
initial
isn't
thing to
important,
sell,
but
right?
what does HI stand for? Do you know this one?
Oh, I know this one. Hosted ITIL.
Hosted ITIL. That's right.
And now there's like 7 of these support portals.
Well, support is still, I still call it HI. I think it's still running HI, believe it or not. It's just domain mapping. All right, I won, of course.
You won. You came my butt. I like it.
Well, I mean, I
The
also know
student
that I wrote
becomes
it.
the master.
Well, I also, number one, I'm good at trivia. Number two, good at remembering. And by the way, this may look like a scene from Aliens, but because of trademark and copyright and all that, this is really Bill Paxton. It's just Bill
Okay.
Paxton.
Yeah.
Nothing to, there we go.
Sounds
So,
fantastic.
yeah, so I got to polish it up a little bit, but I think maybe at our next snug, at least in my area, we'll have it. Or if we do some events, it can be pretty fun. And it can play on your phone too. It's responsive, so it's like on your phone.
Because you're in with more rights, do you have the ability to like pause and like tell it to wait to load a question?
I have not put in the manual stuff. It's just a flow that's kind of running it, but I did set it up where you can set up templates here. I can.
We don't need to dig into the technical of it.
Let's not dig into it. All right.
Right.
So anyway,
No,
that's the
very
trivia
cool.
now.
I like it.
2.0 updated.
Yeah.
I got a little bit more polishing to do, but generally it works.
I should have tried with my phone so I could tell you it's responsive. I'm sure
I know it works on the phone. I've done it on the phone.
Oh, see,
And people
I thought
acknowledge
I
doing it
had
on
the
the
computer.
phone.
Yeah.
Well, I did it on the computer because I wanted to just easily share the screen.
Yeah.
But all right. Anyway, I know we're getting closer to the end of time. So was there a cliffhanger you were talking about? What's going on?
Yeah. So I'm working with about 10 other people, a project that I'm excited to announce next week.
Can't announce it now?
I can't because if I announce it now, there's no cliffhanger.
Can you give a hint?
So if you want to find out what it is, I'll be talking about it next week here on this podcast. Or
you're
not
going
next
to
week,
talk about
in 2 weeks.
Yeah, it's going to be a couple weeks because we only record like every other week.
Yeah.
Which we have to watch and see because I'm going on vacation in June. So
Well, we can pretend it's that day in the future.
So
But-
we would record on the 13th, which is perfect.
Yeah.
I'll be
Friday the
right on vacation. Oh my God, that's even better. It's even better. You know what though? Today was Friday the 13th for me. I got to tell this story. This was crazy. I was like driving home from errands. Like I had to get home for a meeting. And it's raining not too hard, but enough that you need your wipers. And out of nowhere, like my wipers literally like crossed, like just, and then like all this stuff. And if you can imagine, it's like what movie was I just thinking of? Like Spaceballs, where they're fighting and the whole lightsabers get twisted. It was like that. And I had to pull over and then try to figure out what was going on. And one of my like wipers totally broke off and like I couldn't see while driving at all. And I finally fixed the other one enough where I could like see half of it. But it was the weirdest thing. And you don't realize how important wipers are until you don't have it and it's pouring. And you're like, wow, we have really evolved safety of driving, of just having better visibility from wipers. So whoever invented wipers, thank you. I really learned the appreciation today. And if you haven't gotten new wipers or checked to make sure things are tight, do it this weekend because you will,
It's important to drive with the right equipment,
Exactly.
including wipers. I've
Public
driven without wipers before. It's really dangerous, especially in the snow.
I have too. Public safety announcement for everyone. Good note to end on. All right. I'm Michael.
And I'm Jace. See you guys in 2 weeks. Thanks, Mike.
All right. Be cool.
Stop